Dr. Antonio, thank you so much for inviting me to your favorite bar today. And I have it written down, so hold on. The Friese Luft Bar.
Thank you very much, Gary, for hosting me. I mean, it's really a great pleasure for me to be with you. Yes, Frische Luft Bar. This is the name of this open air bar where we are sitting today. It's really right by the river called Limmat. It's basically the main river that flows from Zurich. It goes across Baden, and then it goes really direct into the Rhine River. So
Wow.
it's really on the north, if you want, it's on the northeastern part of Switzerland.
And isn't it amazing when you name some of those places there? Very Germanic names, and even it flows into the Rhine. Uh, an extraordinary country in its own right, with three distinct ethnic backgrounds. And of course, with a name like Antonio Coccia or Coccia, you certainly weren't born in Switzerland. Oh, maybe you were. Maybe you were.
No, no. I am actually originally Italian from Napoli.
Ooh.
And this year we even wore the championship, the Italian championship with our football team.
I know. I watched Diego Maradona won it 30 something years ago, and you
Here we
won
go.
it.
33 years ago, 33 years ago. And this year we made it finally. We made it finally. But in fact, I mean, you're right. I have been actually moving to Switzerland 19 years ago. I
Oh,
have been spending, I don't want to say that I have spent probably 50% of my life, but a good 40% of my life I've been here in
no,
Switzerland,
no.
which
You
makes it
should
a
have said
lot.
over 60% of my life I've been living here. Get, get get the people watching guessing. So we're sitting in the bar outside. The
We
water
are.
the water's flowing, the birds are singing. Life couldn't be better. And there's a massive electrical and all that happens is that your phone only has three apps left. That's it.
That's
What,
it.
what are the three? What are
That's
the
a beautiful question. That is a beautiful question. You know what I very much I have to say that I mean what I very much like of our world, of our digital world, is that I mean everyone is actually contributing to the evolution of the digital world, right? I mean the man on the street, the man and the woman and the kids on the street. Even my daughter today, she's today 9 years old, and she is also using the different applications.
Hmm.
In a kind of unconscious way, she's in fact already contributing to the digital transformation of the society, right?
Yeah.
And so I have to say that what I very much liked of this digital transformation is that this transformation itself was extremely quick. And basically, what is the picture of today may be a little bit different from the picture, 3, 4, 5, or even 10 years ago. Probably if you would have addressed me the question, what are the applications on your mobile that you would say 10 years ago? I can tell you that 10 years ago, I didn't even have a smartphone. I didn't even have, the different applications, right? And then in the meanwhile, different applications came in. The smartphones had a boom. We had the first exposures to the internet, continuously 24/7. We even had the possibility to upload the pictures and videos on the cloud. That was really fantastic game changers 10 years ago. But meanwhile, I mean, new applications have come in, right?
Yeah.
And I can tell you that there is for sure, I mean, one application that I would still keep on my mobile, and this is basically the internet browser, because I love to browse. I love to surf. I like to watch TV. Also on the browser, you can still watch, news. You can watch, magazines. You can read magazines. You can stay connected with people. I mean, you can surf the different websites of the different companies to start understanding who is doing what.
That's sort of so intelligent that I'd nearly say you're cheating. Why? Because the browser really keeps open all the other apps.
Everything.
Now there, whereas the other apps are
If
closed.
if you've got the browser, you can almost open all the other applications, from gaming, from TV, from
Yeah.
company websites. You can still open your private chats in your private communications. That one is
I
the
see what
fundamental
I see what you're
gateway,
doing. I see
gateway
what
to
you're doing.
everything.
I see what
However,
you're doing.
however, if we want to play honest, I mean, there is one application that I love, and this is the YouTube. You know, I mean, this is also representative of the way I have been changing myself. I have changed, you know, over the years. I mean, again, back 10 years ago, probably I could have spent hours in front of the TV watching movies, you know, movies marathons, or, for example, news programs and so on. But today, my attention really requires a change every 20 minutes.
It's
You,
extraordinary.
you, you know, I can hardly focus for 2 hours, 3 hours on a TV content or in a show. I can get easily bored, to be honest with you. If it is a TV show, honestly, that is extremely interesting. I still watch it. But today, I prefer to, you know, to have a variation of the
Yeah,
things I'm actually watching in 1 hour. If I have 1 hour free, I want to see a little bit of a music, a little bit of art, a little bit of, you know, technology, a little bit of crazy things, you know, just to have fun and to have a little bit of leisure time.
it's
So,
extraordinary how quickly that
so
we've
do you?
all. It's extraordinary how quickly we've all become sort of 140 character, get our attention. Does anybody even read long form anymore?
I don't think so. Well, probably we can find still some people doing that, but I
Yeah,
mean, the majority of the people you know, getting used to a different speed. To be honest with you, this is what I feel like.
yeah. Even your 9-year-old daughter that you mentioned.
And
I
you know,
was,
there is a second application that I will save because of my daughter, right? I mean, a couple of months ago, I saw her making some TikTok videos, some dancing on the TikTok, you know, and I was looking at this app, you know, with a little bit of a snobby attitude, like, hey, what is it? What is this TikTok application? And then basically I logged into it. I made a profile for myself, you know, also to have a little bit of you know, of a touch on what my daughter is actually publishing and doing.
sure. Yeah,
And then at some point, I got in the trap of the TikTok. You know,
yeah.
what I very much like of the communication of the TikTok is that, I mean, the speed of the different communication shots is extremely high. You know, I mean, every video probably is lasting anything between 30 seconds and 3 minutes. You know, and you scroll, of course, on TikTok, you can find a lot of useless content, to be honest. You can find really a lot of useless stuff, but you basically scroll. You have to be as well very careful in the way you filter information because actually anyone can publish pretty much everything on TikTok.
Sure.
However, you know, when I'm tired, I like to watch those kind of funny videos, you know, to relax a little bit. Or for example, if I can't get asleep, you know, at night, I can watch some kind of ASMR videos.
Sure.
Or, for example, I can watch to some kind of, you know, just frames of TV shows or some kind of frameworks of news and so on. So I get in a kind of very, very fast way my information.
But do you
Again,
not think you not think in one regard? I agree. It's mind blowing the amount of content now you can either shallow surf or deeply engage with. But one of the things I used to love, Antonio, was you'd pick up a paper and you could hear about fishing and mountaineering and windsurfing and odds and sods and stuff that whereas now we're all sort of going very deep and very narrow into what we like.
indeed, indeed,
And
indeed.
you just wonder sometimes then when we meet other people that are different and they say, oh, I'm into fishing. Well, I don't know anything about
Mhm.
fishing. So you just wonder, and I think you said it earlier, it's got great, it can do great things, all this data, but we must be mindful as well that it's also changing society. And I think once we acknowledge that and don't try and sweep it under the rug, then we can navigate through it. And I know you're a man of science as well, and probably you read a bit of history, but all this data and digitalization really is just the steam. Data is just the steam of this industrial age or this
Right.
global age. And whether it was steam, electricity, microchips, they always become very emotive. Change is emotive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I mean, there is another element that I think that we should also, of course, I mean, I'm working in this industry, right? And I'm really fascinated by this digital revolution. I mean, it's something that is really, changing our lives, the way we live, right?
Hmm.
However, we should also be a little bit, concerned about everything we post and everything we basically upload on the internet. Also, because every single action, it will generate electrical power usage. It will produce electrical power usage. And you know what? I mean, if I have to post something which is a little bit stupid, I rather don't do that because I mean it has got a lot of different aspects. It has got a social aspect, influencing, some kind of people that may get a bit influenced by even, unreasonable content, but it also has a little bit of a hardware content because as soon as you upload a video or a picture or something like that on such a platform, you immediately have an energy usage. And sustainability today is absolutely fundamental
Hmm.
question,
Hmm.
right?
And
So
because I guess we've done such a fantastic, amazing job, particularly the older timers like myself, in detechnicalizing the hardware and all, and we call it the cloud, that a lot of people actually believe that the cloud is something mystical and magical and not physical. I wish sometimes that we could reverse all our marketing stuff back to 2000 when we went from grid computing to cloud computing and made it more tangible and just called it get rid of the cloud. It's a data center because sometimes I'd love if people would just connect the two more often, right?
indeed. So
Because, there you go.
ultimately gets down to hardware, isn't it? To chips, processing all the type of information, all the different information.
So
So
what keeps you motivated? So we've drunk 15 pints at this wonderful bar, and you're bored with me. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you interested in what you're doing and who you're doing?
first of all, I mean, this is something that I like to say. I basically like to spend, my time, because my time is valuable, very valuable to me, on the things that really produces me interest. I mean, I like to work on interesting things, personally, but also professionally. I mean, these are to me two different dimensions. But I dislike to waste my time on things that do not bring me any added value, right? So one of the things I try to do is really focusing on the priorities. So this is really helping me, getting concentrated and getting more efficient as possible. And the reason why I say that is that the more efficient I am, the more things I can crunch in a day, right? And how I keep myself motivated, being overloaded, being loaded enough or overloaded. If
Wow.
there are some moments where I do not have much to do, then I can tell you I can get so much bored that demotivation can come in. Absolutely. I mean, and I have experienced already a couple of times. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, so the way I get motivated is definitely looking up to challenges. If there is something which is a little bit too simple or a bit too repetitive, I tend to get bored again. Or variety. This is something that I also like
Variety.
and value a lot. If I have to get narrow in some kind of details and I have to get specialized in some kind of very deep details, I can also get bored. And I always try to I always like to be loaded as much as possible. So my day, it's entirely occupied. Yeah, from 6 o'clock in the morning when I get up down to 24, or midnight,
Wow.
because I typically switch off the clock at midnight.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's a saying in English in Ireland, I'm not sure if it translates, but is always if you want to get something done quickly, ask somebody who's very busy to do it
No,
because
but
they'll allocate it a 15-minute slot, they'll get it done and move on.
exactly.
The other thing is, I don't know if you've watched it, but I'm watching at the moment the three-part Arnold Schwarzenegger biopic on Netflix. And the main thing he learned from his father was uh, always be useful. No matter what you're doing, always be useful. And it got me thinking about what does that exactly mean? And I think it's either be useful to yourself or being useful to others or being useful to society, but always be useful.
You
And
know, I couldn't agree more.
it's
I
interesting,
feel
isn't
like
it?
it's really done for myself, this kind of sentence. I always try to be useful, you know, to my family, to
Yeah.
you know, to my community. I always try to be useful, even to my professional ecosystem. You know, this is really something that keeps me going.
And there again, and this is what I'm learning as well, is that you have great philosophers, haven't you? And we hang on all their words, and we don't, they're going back to Greek philosophers and Egyptian, and we don't actually understand what they're talking about often. And then we have somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who we all have a different view on, political or bodybuilding. He shouldn't come up with these great, wonderful sayings that we all should comment. And
Why
yet
not?
they're common sense. And I think a bit like what we and you and I would talk about, because someone who actually looks like us, not quite, but talks, say, oh yeah, that happens to me. And I think this is a big part of what I'm liking about some of the stuff collectively we're all doing, where we're trying to personalize uh, today. What does success look like? What does a successful person look like? Back in the day, you had to go to Harvard, you had to wear a suit, you had to have a stock portfolio, you had to, it's sort of changing, and I think more people talk about the fact that it's changing. Be useful, be happy, add value. Don't be afraid to show your insecurities, and laugh a bit more and smile a bit more and sit outside in this bar
I
and
agree with you. I
and
agree with you. This is also some ingredient which is very, very important. You know, if we take ourselves extremely serious every single day in every single thing we do, and we never laugh, I mean, I think it's not really good for the mood of the you know of the people around you. It's not good for your own mood, for your own personality. I think we should also start learning again how
yeah.
to laugh yeah, I think it's very fundamental for our lives.
So I think on that lighter note, it's an ideal time to say thank you for bringing me to your favorite bar.
Thank you
I've
very much for
I've
coming by.
absolutely enjoyed it. I can nearly hear the water. It's our first time in Switzerland. And for now, I'll leave you, Dr. Antonio, and say thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have loved our conversation, our chat, and see you again back in Switzerland, maybe.
Yeah, sooner than later.
Bye, Gary.